Okay. Come on in, come on in. Come on in, come on in. Come on, you vultures, come on in. So this is the navigation bridge. This is literally the home of the captain when we are at sea. He lives up here. In fact, he lives in that chair right there, the commanding officer's chair. Constantly in that thing. The captain, background. He is a Navy 4 striper. He would be like a full colonel in the other services. He has had the jobs of all those other folks we talked about so far throughout his naval career. He has already had command of a larger B-draft naval ship, and now he's been selected to be one of 11 aircraft carrier commanders in the Navy. A lot of responsibility, a lot of authority, but wow, also a lot of prestige. Being one of 11 is a big deal. Just yes. Not every single one, but all those key ones, and the ones we talked about, yes, to get all that experience. So, as I said, a lot of prestige, because it's a stepping stone to making admiral when you're
ghe to, ghế của này ghế của ghe to nhé.
Well, the captain's chair alone, that is sacred ground. No one sits in that chair but the captain. No one. Even if we're in port somewhere and the captain's out running around somewhere, no one sits in that chair. A sailor sat in that chair one time. Disappeared in a puff of smoke. We don't even know what happened to him. Anyway, with that said, the captain and all of that authority, he winds up turning over, running the ship to the 3 young junior officers who are up here on the watch. Now, he's guiding to make sure they do it right. His career is on the line, but he lets them do it. The first young man, the officer of the deck, he's a 25-year-old Navy lieutenant. He's giving commands around for the captain. The second young man, the junior officer of the deck, he's acting what they call the conning officer. He's giving commands back here into the pilot house for steering direction and speed. And we'll pop back there in a minute and talk about how they do that. And then the third young man, the junior officer of the watch, well, actually that's what he does, he watches. That big radar scope, pair of binoculars, just to make sure we don't run anybody over as we're steaming along. And then when we get out of the harbor and out into the sea, the navigator comes up and just sits in the navigator's chair over there called the gator chair, the navigator, okay? And he brings up one of his young men, quartermasters, and they chart our course as we're steaming along on that little chart table there. So now, can you see that picture in the back there? Go right back to that picture so you can virtually touch it. And I'll come back there with you and we'll talk about driving the ship. That's it. Swing right around the old steering wheel there. Right around so you get a good view of that guy. So this is the pilot house that we're in right now. This is where they literally drive the ship. Okay? Kind of like a car. Steering wheel, gas pedal. Or maybe not quite like a car.
Con tàu này
The steering wheel
điều khiển
is really called the
nhìn
helm. And you have
chỉ
the young
có
helmsman.
giỏi thật sự, nhìn giỏi mới biết được thôi chứ.
You know I say young helmsman? Last year, the helmsman's father, very uncomfortable giving him the keys to the family car.
Ở đây họ điều khiển những chiếc máy bay lên xuống là ok luôn đó. Không thể tưởng tượng được.
That tells him his directions. This is a gyro compass, and this is a backup magnetic compass that he's got. So he's ready to roll. Right. So we have this device. It's not really the gas pedal. It's called the engine order telegraph, and that's manned by another guy, the lee helmsman. So how's it all work? The guy I mentioned up here, the conning officer, he sees everything out there. He tells this guy which way to turn, the helmsman, and then he gives this guy how fast instructions. And he dials that into this telegraph, engine order telegraph. Sends the information all the way down to the bottom of the ship where the engine room is. They get it, build up a bunch of steam, because we're steam powered, and off we go. So now look at the picture in back of you. That picture is Midway at sea going through an underway replenishment, or again in Navy lingo, an unrep. We are getting diesel fuel to heat up the water to create the steam from that tanker right next to us. We had to do that once to twice a week. Every week we're at sea because we burnt 100,000 gallons of diesel fuel every single day. 100,000 gallons per day. Now those guys across the way, they are nuclear-powered ships. They've been nuclear-powered for quite a few years. But it's the same steam engine. They're just using nuclear fuel to heat up the steam. So here we are, we're getting fuel twice a week, and they, when they're getting their underway replenishment, all right, because they have to, they're getting fuel once every 25 years. Well, they are doing an underway replenishment because they still have to stop and get supplies every now and then. They're not loading up with 3.2 million gallons of diesel fuel like we did.